Hi, folks. Well, thank you for hanging out with me today. Again, we're back to this experiment. I am working on this foam core that this client dropped off. I finished the painting for them. They were very pleased. Had a couple pieces left over and they said I could keep it. So I said, all right, I will work with this. I'll see how it goes. I'm working with gouache. You can see that I made some black marks just with a regular crayon just to get my hands loose, and they won't show. There will be layers painted over that. But I just put out a couple colors just to see how it goes. I decided not to use a paintbrush. I'm using some Scott tissues just to rub and blend colors. I might add a paintbrush later, but I just wanted to share with you what's going through my mind as I paint, because being intuitive and self-taught, you get in your head real quickly when you're creating. I once heard a photographer say, there are no good photographers, they're just good photographs. And maybe that's true in all walks of life in terms of creativity and painting. Just stick with it, keep experimenting, and work out a style. Now, when you talk about style, that's very interesting because I have a niche. My niche is beach colors. I love and I get inspired when I'm at the beach. I love the way the sun goes over the sky, creating different colors on the sand, on the water. And I could sit there memorize for hours just watching the different colors that come across my vision when I'm just relaxing. It's very inspirational for me. Here I have an old paint that I got from Lowe's just to experiment. You can get very inexpensive Lowe's paint. They'll give you a sample size. It's gone bad. The color was supposed to be a little seafoam green, but you can see it's kind of gone bad. I need to use a paintbrush here because it's not blended. And you'll see I decide not to keep it. I put it down. I start to use it on the foam core that I did in gesso, which is something I typically do. And as I'm painting with it, I don't like the way it comes together. You need to work in a color palette, warm colors or cool colors. If you decide to blend the two, let either the cool colors dry or the warm colors dry. Otherwise, you're going to have a muddy color. Now, there's nothing wrong with mud, and that might be the colors that you want to use in that particular spot. But for me, I like to just stick with either cool colors at first or the warm colors and then come back in. I might do some accents in one of the color palettes. But because I'm so inspired by beach scenes, you're going to find I use a lot of turquoise, a lot of gold. I don't use a lot of yellow, but I will use a lot of beiges, and I blend with either white or black to make variations of colors so that I can get either depth or lighten them. Here I'm coming right over that green, that what was supposed to be seafoam green, and I'm using black right here. So when it combines, I'm getting a gold tint, and that might work for a while, I don't know, but I'm definitely putting that away. You can see me saying, nope, that is not going to work for me. So I am using some high flow acrylic paint. I love that. And you'll find that over at art stores, Michael's. It's just very fluid. It dries quickly, so you have to work quickly with it. But it has a lot of color. And I like it because you can put down layers very quickly and get what you want. Now I'm coming back in with some blue, my favorite, and whites. And I'm trying to get that first part of the painting, that whole right hand piece worked out. So I'm blending, and I am experimenting, as I said, with some Scott blue tissues that I found online, and I just wanted to see how it works in contrast to using the typical brushes. I go through brushes very quickly, I find that if I go to Michael's when they're having a sale, probably this week they'll have a Black Friday sale, I can buy some. I prefer softer brushes. They're easier to clean for me. They're easier to wash, and I find they're easier to paint with. But you will have to find your own preference. Now, getting back to niches, this is very important because it's really finding your voice and your style. Everybody has paintings that they prefer. I was talking to a client the other day. They want big, bold colors, lots of reds and oranges. Not my typical palette, but I can produce a piece of art that they will like. They have bought from me before in those colors, but it's a little stretch for me. So when I'm just practicing, or here I am sharing some techniques with you and trying some experiments, I'm going to go back to what colors I prefer. Think about what you like and what you like to do, and that's going to help you find your voice and find your niche. If you like nature, if you like flowers, if you like to take hikes, take something that you like to do on a daily basis that gives you joy, makes your heart sing, and incorporate that into your artwork. You'll have your best results when you're working within a theme that you particularly like. Now here I'm just taking some thicker white acrylic. It's golden and I really like it, and I'm just covering up those crayon marks that I made. And I'm going to probably end up putting another layer on, but right now I just want to get some of that crayon marks. I might leave some of it and let it just come through. It kind of will give a little bit of interest to the painting, but I haven't decided yet. So here I'm trying to decide what colors to go with next. I have these old tubes of color that I'm trying to use up, and I am trying to figure out if I want to use them, if I don't. Now there's this Payne Gray, P-A-Y-N-E gray, that works really well with neutrals, works well with cool colors and warm colors. So aside from my typical white and black that I go back to, a gray shade works real well in a lot of different color palettes, and it's great for blending. So you're not getting a stark white, you're not getting a black, bold black, you're just getting a little bit softer, and I find that works real well for most of my paintings. Now, as I said, this is an experiment. I don't know what it's going to look like. I will probably paint over it a couple times before I'm happy with the results. I don't like to necessarily make shapes when I do my abstract artwork. I like to make, I wouldn't call them forms, but I like to go in different directions and see what comes out. So be advised that don't get locked into shapes. If you're doing abstract art, you want to just keep creating lines, just smooth, abstract places in the canvas that blend together but not necessarily look like rectangles or squares. So I'm going to keep working on this for a little while longer, adding some more of my aqua color that I always go back to. Liquitex makes a real pretty one, and if you add a little white to it, you get some really pretty, a paler shade. Black gives it a little more gray tones. But I'm going to keep working on this, and we'll see how it finishes up. If I don't do a reel for you, have a happy Thanksgiving. I hope you're with loved ones or enjoying some time off.